The chapter starts with Dorry Brogy and the Dami Reversi giants attacking the western village in an amazing double page. Zoro arrives and starts jumping on the giants' heads. That way he won't get flanked by giants and won't be affected by Dami Reversi. When Zoro reaches the center of the group of Dami Reversi giants, he jumps even higher and attacks them with Sentoryu Ogi Rakudo no Suji, 3-sword-style secret technique crossing the 6 paths, so we went over this yesterday. This is Zoro's big grand master plan. Just jump on the heads of the giants, and you'll avoid being caught in between them. Because you know, if you stand in between them, you get Dami Reversi'd for some reason. That's just how the power works, I guess. And I'm sure he's just destroying them, because while they are pretty powerful, I mean they're giants, and they're Dami Reversi'd, so that's a buff in itself. These guys are just gonna be jobbers, especially for Zoro. They would probably represent a challenge to the rest of the Straw Hats. But you know, Zoro, he's more so supposed to be fighting holy knights here, not these guys. But this is just a warm-up. In another incredible double page, Dorry and Brogy attack Zoro together. But Zoro uses his swords to propel himself out of the way. Dorry and Brogy end up slashing into one another, and this scene calls back to their clashes in Little Garden. But here, their attacks cut parts of their bodies. Okay, so this clears some things up. We went over this yesterday, but we weren't like fully sure how this sequence was working. But now we know that yeah, they were trying to hit Zoro, but they wind up cutting each other in the process. Which of course is a callback to Little Garden, which is like their gimmick. Like they just battled for like 100 years or whatever, over like who had the bigger fish or whatever. Which now that I think about it, could have been like a euphemism from Oda about, you know what. But them cutting each other is fine, because they're just going to heal from it. They have like regeneration now too. They're going to be fine. I mean at least once they get on Dami Reversi. But I really would like to see them fight Zoro, because even without the Dami Reversi, they're strong enough to take on the Gorosei. So both of them together with the Dami Reversi, that should be somewhat of a mid-challenge for Zoro. I don't mean mid, like in the negative connotation. I mean mid like cut to Brook, still tied up, that is crawling on the ground until he reaches Gunko. Brook calls her Princess Shuri, because he thinks Gunko must be related to Princess Shuri, since she should be 80 years old by now. Brook angrily says that face, the blue hair, iris of different colors, and having something to do with the Holy Land, not to mention your love for my music. Yes, everything matches, right, Princess Shuri? So we found this out yesterday too. It seems that Gunko is a princess, Princess Shuri, coming from some place that Brook was like part of their guard or whatever. We had talked about this time span as well, because Brook just chilling out in the Florian Triangle was like 50 years in itself. Gunko is very likely to be the very same Princess Shuri that Brook was around back in the day. But her still being young isn't like too crazy, considering we know that Imu's covenant powers can manipulate age and longevity and immortality and all that stuff. Although the rest of the Holy Knights have age. Like Garling and Summers have age. So it's possible that Imu just did some kind of special covenant with Gunko, similar to the Gorosei, because the Gorosei don't age either. Now also Brook saying here, related to the Holy Land, they have to be celestial dragons or something, or they were going to be celestial dragons, or they're affiliated with the celestial dragons. Because Gunko is now part of the Man-Mayor family, which is a celestial dragon family. Now either she was adopted into them, or the kingdom was where the Man-Mayors were chilling, even though technically they should be living in Marishua if they are celestial dragons. There's still a lot of connective tissue here, which I'm sure we'll get. But going more into that, Brook says, I don't want to remember you in the slightest, you Father Slayer. The man whose life you took, my benefactor to whom I owe so much. So Brook is angry at Gunko, which is like a twist. And this is implying that yeah, Gunko killed her father, who Brook looked up to, and I guess had a bond with. Like, I'm assuming Gunko didn't actually kill her father, at least willingly. It seems extremely likely this was like Imu taking control of her, and then having her kill her father, because the father didn't want to kiss the ring of Imu, or become a celestial dragon, or go to Marishua, or something like that. And Brook, of course, doesn't know that. So he just sees Gunko killing the father, and doesn't know that she's been taken over by Imu, which is like going to be the recurring theme in this story. Like once we go back to the Void Century, I'm sure this is going to happen like 17 times. After hearing Brook, Gunko briefly comes back to her senses, but Imu is not willing to let Gunko regain control of her body. Imu says, Gunko, you don't tell Mu that you're beginning to remember things. And Gunko says, run, Brook. Gunko manages to free Brook and the Straw Hats from the arrows, but Imu takes control and makes Gunko attack Brook. Alright, finally the Straw Hats are free of the arrows, and it's not even like they're going to do anything of substance, I'm guessing. But at least, they're just not going to sit there for another 15 chapters or whatever, because that was really getting annoying. I would have liked for them to get out of it themselves. I assume that's what was going to happen. Like they were going to actually figure out how to get out of the arrows, because they kept talking about it. At the same time, Sanji reaches Nami's group, all released now by Gunko's arrows. But Robin is unable to move, because she's still trapped by Summer's vines. So Sanji's with the group. This is good. At least somebody there that can actually do something. And considering that it's being emphasized here, that Robin is still trapped by Summer's vines, I for sure think this is leading to Sanji fighting Summer, which we've been talking about these last 2 chapters. Because you know he's going to figure out what's on, and he's like, okay, I'm gonna have to go take care of Summer, so that you can be freed from these vines. Cut to the giant kids that reach Summers, and the ship. The kids' parents, Ripley, and the other giants catch up to them, but are blocked by Evil Nika Sleeptid. However, they all bravely attack the Nika Sleeptid together, since they are Warriors Generation 2. But Nika resists the attack, and it's now the one who attacks the kids' parents. Gerd, Goldberg, and Road are close to the area where the And parents are. But they don't arrive in time to help them, even if they run. So Gerd and Goldberg decide to attack from a distance to defeat the monster. Gerd and Goldberg use the same attack pose as Dorry and Brogy. Gerd, Goldberg, and Road combine their powers and use an epic attack that pierces through the Nika Sleeptid body. Okay, this was a little surprising. I mean, yeah, it's cool to see the 3 of them here work together, but I'm just mainly surprised that they're defeating the Nika here. Because I thought this was going to be like Luffy's, little warm-up. In the last page of the chapter, we see that the Nika Sleeptid is blown towards Summers, but he uses his spike club to blow it away from him. However, Nika ends up falling on the ship that was going to be used to kidnap the children, and sinks it. The chapter ends with Summer's shocked face, lol. End of chapter, no break next week. So this is great. We went over this yesterday. I actually really like this development, and it does make sense because it is Nika. I mean, yeah, it's like the evil nightmare monster Nika. But Nika is always going to be used in some benevolent manner for Oda here. He is like the Jesus of this story. So despite him being like this evil nightmare monster, he's still going to fall on the ship, inadvertently, saving them. So I like it. I like that Summers is crapping the bed here. I'm sure Emu is going to get upset at him, but this isn't the end for Summers. Like Summers, despite being just a psychopath with no real depth to him, his redeeming quality is that he just gets clowned on, which I'm all here for, because this isn't the end of it. He's going to get clowned on by Sanji as well, so that's something to look forward to. But let me know what you thought about this in the comments, guys. We're going to go over the full chapter probably Friday. If you liked it, please give it a like. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.